All right, guys, it is fall time, and it is time to show you guys the techniques you can use to catch more fish. Um, Especially during the fall when the bite gets a little bit tough, water's cooling down. I like to start with a smaller bait like a crappie magnet with a 16th ounce jig. I actually prefer that. That's my go-to. It seems that you get more bites. You know, the water temperature is cool. They're not out there just eating away. Their metabolisms are slowing down, but they still need to eat and, get their food to hold them over for the winter when food is more scarce. Um, when it's getting windy out there, you can use a beetle spin like that on the screen. I feel like that extra little, like that thump you get from the the blade, that can draw more fish in. It gives off a little vibration, water displacement. When it gets windy out, that's the way I go. It works, every time I use it, I catch fish, man. When I'm out there, I preferably try to fish in two different styles, whether it be cast and retrieve or trolling. That's my go-tos. You can use a slip bobber and jig. Those do work good too, but when the fall, they're still a little active and they want to have something that's moving around. That's just what I've seen. So here for my first style, I'm just kind of casting out, just let it fall. I actually whipped down the line because it was windy. I don't know if you saw that, so that the line got on the water and it wasn't pulling my lure. And then I start to bring it in slow, just reeling really slow, trying to keep it at that, mid to low range depth in the lake. It's about 12 feet where I'm at here in the lake, and I'm trying to keep it just a few feet off of the bottom. And I'm reeling it back nice and slow. And then I'm just leaving it down there, and waiting for a fish. It's just got to go by their face and they see it and they want it. But right here, you see, I'm hooked up, got it right in the top of the mouth, right where you want it. Um, got that guy. That was fun. That was on one of those crappie magnets. And with the crappie magnet, I got a crappie. Believe it or not, they catch crappie. So that's the first technique that I like to use. You can use this technique to catch crappie, bass, pike, any sort of freshwater fish. You can even get catfish and stuff. It's very effective. And these small lures, they catch about everything. So if you're just going out there trying to have a good time and catch fish, this is the way to go in the fall. So, you see here, I'm reeling it in nice and slow, not going too fast, and I get hooked up, and I'm reeling it in. I use light tackle so I can feel those light bites because they're not just destroying them like they are in the spring and in the summer. They're just grabbing them when they go by. So you don't really feel that thump, that bang when you do get bit. So here I actually got this nice bass. He was pretty long. Wasn't the most healthy bass around town. He had a nice huge frame, but not real thick. He wasn't real filled out. Just seemed I wouldn't I wouldn't say necessarily unhealthy, but not the healthiest looking bass you can see. But yeah, that's all I was doing is threw it out and I was reeling it back real slow. So one of the big things here when you're doing that, when you throw it out there, you throw it out and you let it fall. Like I reel in the slack a little bit and I'm letting it fall and I'm bringing it back. Just real slow, real slow. I'm not reeling fast. I'm not trying to, get it like whip it through the water, grab a ton of attention. I'm just casually bringing it back like a bait fish not paying attention, just out for a stroll. They don't know any better. But see here, I'm hooked up. I'm bringing it in. Look at that rod bend. Man, that rod bend. So much fun. That I got that ultralight on this one, but that rod is bending like crazy, and you could see that right on the screen. It's pretty wild. This fish was giving me a nice fight. Had to use the net on him. It looks like he had a couple, he had some weeds with him, but yeah, it ended up being a very stout crappie. Very nice crappie. And that just, once again, on that on that crappie magnet, man, those things just catch them, but in the fall, you're going to have a lot of, if you have vegetation in your lake, it's starting to die. And when that happens, you're going to get snagged. Now, if you can throw it out and reel it in and get snagged a little bit, but still, get every other cast, where you maybe get snagged, but you can pull it through, you're in the right spot. That's where the fish are. They're in those snags. But man, just a beautiful color on that crappie, by the way. It's a heavy vegetation lake there, so that's why he's so dark. I'm up here in Michigan. But if you're not getting snagged, you're not going to catch fish. That's just how it goes. The fish need a place to hide, so that's where you're going to find them. So I'm going to move on to my next style here. I'm actually going to troll a beetle spin. So I throw it out, close my bail up, put it in my little holder there. I'm actually letting some line come out so that it sinks a little bit more. So then I shut my bail while I have a little bit of speed, a little bit of, momentum, and I'm just casually rowing. I'm not going very fast. I have a fish finder that has my speed on it, and I'm actually trying to keep my speed around 0.8. So 0.80 miles per hour up to 1.2 miles per hour. That's my goal. That's where I want to be at, the nice and slow, a good troll. That seems to be where I get the most bites, is when I'm going slower. It keeps it lower in the water column. It keeps it in front of their face a little bit longer so that they can see it. That's what works for me. So as you can see, I'm reeling, I'm going, things are going well. And I'm actually going across a channel. So if you use those topographic maps, on like Fishbrain or Angler, you can find, how deep it is, where the channels are in the water. If you have a fish finder, obviously you can see that too. But something you can look at in the water is where the current is. That's usually where the channel's at. Is when you see the current, die off somewhere, the channel isn't there. But a lot of these fish are going to be in there because it's pushing bait. So that's always a good spot. But yeah, you can see I'm hooked up. I'm reeling them in. Just got bit. And I get them to the boat. This is on the beetle spin. And it was an okay crappie. Got him in the side. He must have side swiped it. Sometimes it's hard to get a hook set when you're trolling. So I got him. He thought he was gonna get away, but not today. Got him in the boat. So, but yeah, that's pretty much all you do when you troll. Is I look for where the channels are, where there's a little bit of current, where maybe it's hard to float without anchoring and casting because the winds or the current's constantly moving you. That's probably not where you want to be. So anyway, I'm just trolling. I threw it out. I'm paddling away, just going and staying with the current, just trying to keep it within that range there, and if you don't know how fast that is, it's harder to tell in a kayak, but it is not fast. You can walk 1 mile per hour, no problem, but when you're in a kayak, it's really hard to determine how fast you're going. It seems like when I'm paddling, the fastest I've been able to get was paddling was maybe 4 or 5 miles per hour. So it's still a pretty steady, you know, uh, still a pretty steady pace, but it's not fast at all. So, I got this guy here, just got him right in the side of the mouth. I don't know what he was thinking, but I got him. I got a nice little crappie, just paddling away, and That was with the trolling. I actually put the crappie magnet on the beetle spin, and that's what was working for me. So, you can see here, just kind of toss it out. Got some nice overcast. You can see the waves in the water, so it was actually a pretty windy day, and I just started paddling. I knew that this was going to be a more effective way because when it gets windy, it gets hard to feel the bites, even with light tackle. Until you've had a lot of experience, you're going to have a hard time detecting the bite. And I'm even saying for bass, like it can be difficult to detect the bite on bass when it's windy because you cannot feel your jig. Um, no, but that's what makes it fun. That's what makes it challenging. You want to go out and you want to catch fish, but you also want to have fun. So this is what I do. I found ways to have fun, ways to get out there, and so here I am. I was trolling. I got hooked up, reeling it in. It thinks it's got a chance, but it doesn't. Even though I got light tackle, I can easily take down any fish within these lakes. But yeah, look at him go under my kayak. He's giving me a hard time, but I ain't scared, man. You can't scare me. And it actually ended up being a pretty decent bass. And picked him up right in the corner of the mouth, got him up there. And I noticed something funny about this bass. He was all janky. Look at how his tail is. Just completely wild on how his tail looks. I've never seen anything like this. He was deformed. Um, it was actually kind of funny. I mean, I feel bad for the bass, but I've never seen anything like this. The tail was all sorts of bent, but he was actually a pretty good sized bass too, believe it or not. Look at how, see, this is the same lake. This bass is fat, he's full, he's filled out, he's been eating his share, but he's got a little deformity or something on the tail. I've never seen anything like it. So, but yeah, that was just trolling. So, back to the trolling, just going down the water, going real slow. So this time I'm actually going with the current. So I'm going a little bit slower than I typically would, simply on the fact that, I know the current's going to push me too. So I'm just going around, just going on down, and I've seen my line start to jump, and I was reeling it in, and the thing is you got to set the hook too even when you're trolling, so I give it just a light tap, because if you don't do any tap, they're going to shake you. They're going to get off, and you don't want that to happen. So I'm reeling them in, get him up, got him to the boat. Didn't need a net or anything, but he's hooked right in the top of the mouth, right where you want it. Nice little crappie. I'm gonna get that jig out of there like a professional. Look at that. But he's got his mouth wide open still. He just got pulled across the lake. So, it was these are the type of techniques I like to use. I like to troll. I like to cast and retrieve very slowly. I use light tackle. That's the secret to catching more fish, because you got to use light tackle. You can use big tackle, but you're not going to get bit as much. You might catch some big ones here and there, but this is just the way I prefer to fish because, I don't get to go fishing all the time. So the thing is when I do get to go fishing, I want to catch fish. I want to have a good time. I like to eat the fish too. So, I want stuff to bring home that I can make for dinner. Put stuff in the freezer. That's just what I enjoy to do, So, but hey, if you stuck around, you've watched this video, I really appreciate you. I thank you. I hope you learned something from this and that, you can take it and you can go out and catch more fish. Thank you again. And until next time, later.